You have to push it forward and then... Hey, everybody! Welcome to Jubilee Circle. We are still getting ready here because, you know, that's how we roll here at Jubilee Circle. What we're doing today is lighting a lot of light here in the darkness. Coming up, we are in the Via Negativa, but we are going to talk a lot about light today. We are continuing our Via Negativa theme of seeing in the dark, and all this via we have been exploring our willingness to see the world differently, to see things through the eyes of the holy instead of the eyes of the ego, so we can bring our darkness to the light. And you know what? We are in my favorite season of the whole year. I love fall for so many reasons. I love the cooler weather, the joy of breaking out the jackets and the long sleeves. I also enjoy the fall because it is my favorite beer season. And yes, beer does have seasons. I love dark beer, exactly. And this season is when those overly hoppy, bitter IPAs largely disappear from the barroom taps, and they're replaced by those thick, dark, sweet porters and stouts spiked with pumpkin and coffee and chocolate. Okay, I'm back. Like all things in life, though, fall is a trade-off. For everything that I love about fall, the one thing I hate, and you may hate it with me. What is that? Leaves? Okay, well, that's one. No, I don't rake, so. Leaf blower.
Football season, football traffic?
I heard it back here. Daylight savings time.
Oh, football traffic.
The time change. And the time changes this year on November 7th. I hate it when we fall back 1 hour and it gets pitch freaking dark at 5:30 at night. Yeah. But that's how life is for all of us. In the midst of what we love, there are things that make us sad or uncomfortable or even angry. My mama always said, honey, life is not fair. And fall proves this to me. It brings me jackets and tasty brews, but it takes away the evening light that I enjoy so much in the spring and summer. So the fall and winter months, it can bring on things called seasonal affective disorder or SAD, because the lack of light really does affect our emotional state. Many people become depressed during this time of the year, and not just because the looming holidays are hard for some people, but we lose the light that our body craves because our body is made of that light. And so the loss of light during this time of the year, it reminds us that the darkness can be overwhelming on so many levels. And so as we continue this Via Negativa theme of seeing in the dark,
Oops. So Candace is saying how unreliable her batteries are, and it just died. Just died.
Just keep talking. We'll keep repeating it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Have a chorus.
This is a typical Mercury retro occurrence, and it's nothing to be alarmed at. It's a good time for preventive maintenance.
1, 2, all right, here we go. And we're back. So, the loss of light during this time of year reminds us darkness can be overwhelming, but today we're going to learn how to tap into that inner light of the holy that will sustain us and help us see in the darkness no matter of what season of life we find ourselves in. Because when we realize that our light can shine brightly year-round, that's when we all get to say, oh, yeah. Please rise as you're able, and out there in remote land, do what you need to do to get yourself in this space. I recommend that you find in your own space where east and west and south and north is, so you can follow the directions with us and invite the holy into that place where you are. But we start, as we do with every Jubilee Circle, by remembering the elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire. And we call the 4 directions to orient ourselves in this sacred time and space. And we burn black sage as a reminder to set our intentions not just personally, but to set our intentions for the world. I invite you to turn and face the east. Holy One, awaken us to the light of the east. Bless us with the dawning of each new day. Open and awaken us so that we may be the light that others need to shine in this world so they can see through their own darkness. Holy One, light our path this day and every day as we seek to bring your light into this world. Quarter turn to the right, we face the south. Bless us, Holy One, with an inner light that shines as warmly as that southern sun, inviting all around it to gather in its warmth and beauty. The sun shines on us without regard to ideas about race or color or gender or class or political beliefs. Open our hearts, Holy One, so that we may freely shine that love of you into this world, knowing that everyone we meet is worthy, everyone we meet is sacred. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west. Help us, Holy One, when the light begins to dim. The darkness in our world is just as natural as the light, so help us to bless instead of curse the darkness that we perceive. Help us, Holy One, to understand that you are always present with us in both darkness and light, and help us to become that presence of your light for those who believe they are in darkness, and help us to recognize others who bring their light to our darkness. Quarter turn to the right, we face the north. Guide us, Holy One, when we fall into our own pit of darkness. Instead of wallowing deep into the darkness, remind us to go toward you, toward that light of the holy. Help us to rely always on you, Holy One, to be our true north, guiding us home. And help us shine our light brightly for others who have forgotten who they are and that they have never left their home with you. And as we turn back toward the center, whether you are here in the room or watching remotely, every single one of us is a little point of light in this world. We are all filled to the brim with the light of the holy, and our task, jubilants, is to get that light out from under the bushel so we can shine it for everyone that we meet. And so everyone in the world, everyone who sees us and encounters us, gets to see that light, and they will say, "Oh, yeah." All right. Please remain standing. We've got a little Katrina and the Waves to start us off this morning. This is a song that has been a standard at Jubilee for a long time, but if you haven't been here in a while, you might not remember it. But if you would like to follow along, if you're out there in remote land or even here in the building and you want a very detailed bulletin, you can go to jubileecircle.com and pull it up on your tablet, your computer, your Ouija board. However you can pull up PDFs. There it is. All right. 2, 3, 4. Love, shine a light in every corner of my heart. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Light up the magic in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts. Everybody, love, shine a light in every corner of my dreams. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Like the mighty river flowing from the stream. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our dreams. And we're all and sisters in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts. Love, shine a light in every corner of the world. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Light up the magic for every boy and girl. Our love shine a light in every corner of the world. And we're all gonna shine a light together. set up an extra microphone over there for Bruce, and I remembered just now that I forgot to test it. Hey, Bruce, speak into that mic.
It's on,
It is. Yes, it is.
except when I turn it off.
I am so glad that you have the power over there. I got the power. Hey, y'all can sit down.
I'll turn it off when it stops sounding good when me.
Okay. All right. So welcome, everybody, again to Jubilee Circle here. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community located in lovely Columbia, South Carolina, and around the world, broadcasting around the world, thanks to our amazing audiovisual guy, Jim Mounts, back there behind the Mix Master Mounts. That's it. Mix Master Mounts. Say that 3 times fast, people. But here at Jubilee Circle, we do teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that we find in all mainstream religions and metaphysical philosophies and mysticism and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. And here we use popular music in our weekly celebrations and teachings and educational and artistic events and other community building activities to create a space for everybody to experience transformation so then they can go out and transform the world. And we believe that we are here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning to life, to renew our commitment to love and to peace and justice, and to learn how to love wastefully and undergo a transformation from the inside out to discover how to live more fully into our higher divine self. And we also recognize that we are part of God's good creation. We are formed in love and in joy and stardust. But we humans, we forget all that. When we enter into the world, we see things in separation. We see this world of paradox where we encounter others as either beautiful or ugly or good or bad or generous or stingy or loving and recalcitrant, right. And let us remember, though, what our function is in this world. We are to continually return to that home that we have never left while we embody and become an open channel for the love that created all of us. So everybody says, oh, yeah. All right, coming up next Sunday, we're going to continue our Via Negativa theme of seeing in the dark, and we're going to use music from Sarah McLachlan to learn how to see through the darkness of responsibility, because sometimes the ego says, this is what you're responsible for, but maybe not. So we'll figure out what we're really responsible for. Lee knows. Lee knows. What's the one thing you have to do in this world? Accept the atonement for yourself. Go to the bathroom. That's of a certain age, Bob. Once you get to a certain age, yes, that is your whole responsibility is to remember to go to the bathroom. See? There you go. So, coming up Friday, October 29th, instead of a proper November open mic, we're backing it up a week because there are 5 Fridays in October, so it feels like it should be on October 29th. So we're just going to do that so we can have a Halloween party. So we're going to have a feature band at 7 o'clock. I don't know. It might be us. We're kicking the idea around of making it CC and the Recalcitrants. Huh? Batgirl. Oh, Deb's going to be Batgirl. All right. So we invite you to don your favorite costume and come for some spooktacular treats. We're going to have some food and beverages and a good time. Suggested donation of $10 will cover all the food and drink, and we'll take up a separate collection to support the featured performer. That will be Friday, October 29th, starting at 7 o'clock. Open mic starts at 8, so come out and join us. And also, Jubilee Circle is hosting a yoga class 3 times a week. Malika Daniels with Healthful Healers is leading yoga every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. And classes start at 6:30, and it's $15 per person. So bring your own mat and water and blocks and come and join Malika for that. Any other things I'm supposed to say up here? Okay. We do want to send well wishes to our banjo player, Janice Mewborn. She has lost a couple of her beloved dogs within the past couple of weeks, and she just wanted a day off today, and we certainly understand. And so we send all of our love and sympathy and condolences to Janice and Sean as they mourn the death of their furry child, of their furry kids. So I'll set you up later, Deb. We'll figure that out. All right. All right. Breathe deeply. Hear these wise and holy words.
From the Jesus story,
You gotta-
Matthew, I know.
Sorry, right in front of it. I know. There you go.
Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven.
Hang on, Beth. I don't think that is working anymore.
I hear it.
Barely on, it is on, but barely. Barely
Okay,
on.
maybe go ahead.
Weird.
Speak again.
I'm going to speak again, and again, or not. Nope.
Oh, why that is not? That is not.
Use your outdoor voice.
Maybe I just need to talk louder.
Maybe that's it.
It's another Mercury Retro moment.
Do
Okay.
you want me to?
Nope.
keep-
I see why. I see my.
Okay.
I see my problem.
She sees the problem.
Go ahead. Try again.
I'm going to keep going. From the Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 2:11 through 16. For what human being knows what is, there we go. For what human being knows what is truly human except the human spirit that is within? So also, no one comprehends what is truly God's except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed on us by God. And we speak of these things in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual things to those who are spiritual. Those who are unspiritual do not receive the gifts of God's Spirit, for they are foolishness to them, and they are unable to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. Those who are spiritual discern all things, and they are themselves subject to no one else's scrutiny. For who has known the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. And from A Course in Miracles, chapter 8. The goal of this curriculum, regardless of the teacher you choose, is know thyself. There is nothing else to seek. Everyone is looking for himself and for the power and glory he thinks he has lost. Whenever you are with anyone, you have another opportunity to find them. Your power and glory are in him because they are yours. The ego tries to find them in yourself alone because it does not know where to look. The Holy Spirit teaches you that if you look only at yourself, you cannot find yourself because that is not what you are. Whenever you are with a brother, you are learning what you are because you are teaching what you are. He will respond either with pain or with joy, depending on which teacher you are following. He will be imprisoned or released according to your decision, and so will you. Never forget your responsibility to him because it is your responsibility to yourself. Give him his place in the kingdom, and you will have yours. The kingdom cannot be found alone, and you who are the kingdom cannot find yourself alone.
These are wise and holy words. All creation is, all creation is holy word. Speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. Darkness, darkness, be my pillow. Greet one another. Take my hand and let me sleep in the coolness of your shadow, in the silence of your deep. Darkness, darkness, long and lonesome is the day that brings me here. I have felt the edge of silence. I have known long and lonesome is the day that brings me here. And I have felt the edge of silence. I have known the depths of fear. Darkness, darkness, be my blanket. Cover me the endless night. Take away the pain of knowing. Fill the emptiness of bright night. Darkness, darkness, be my pillow. Take my hand and let me sleep. Oh yeah. All right, y'all may be seated. All right, our song this morning comes from the Atlanta-based country music duo called Sugarland, which I don't think they exist anymore, but boy, they were great. Jennifer Nettles and Christian Bush. Yep. I followed them when I was in Atlanta all those years ago. Took a trip to Atlanta yesterday, and I don't ever want to go back there. Dear God. Some crazy drivers. I'm driving down 285, and people are just, I mean, there's, it's stacked wall-to-wall cars, and people are just going in and out. And I'm like, oh, get me back to Columbia. Woo. 285 is a racetrack, man. All right, so this song is called...
But if there are people from Atlanta watching, we love you and are grateful for you joining us.
Right.
And be safe on 285.
I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I spent a lot of my life in Atlanta, and I do love Atlanta. There's so much. But I didn't recognize it yesterday. I'm like driving through Decatur going, I've never been here before. They built stuff up. All right. This song is called Shine the Light. It comes from their 2010 release, The Incredible Machine. When you walk into the edge of those dark and lonely woods, when I ask how was your day and you answer not so good, when nothing seems to be working out quite the way it should, I will shine the light. When the skies up above you fill with gray and stormy clouds, and there's not a single face you know in the maddening crowd, when you know that you don't make your way, but you just can't see how, I will shine the light. I will shine the light. I will shine the light. I will hold you in my arms until everything's alright. I will shine the light. A few years ago, a friend told me something that made me feel really good. This person told me that they had seen me many years ago, before they really knew me, speaking at a panel at the University of South Carolina. Now, the only panels I ever spoke on at the at the university was on the topic, always, of homosexuality and the Bible. So you can understand the temperature in the room. There was a lot of contention, a lot of argumentation going on. So while this person said they agreed with all of the arguments that I had made, and that I had made them quite well, the feeling that they came away with, they said, was this: I thought you were really an angry person. You just had this countenance of anger. And that, of course, was not the part that lifted my heart. We'll get to that. that wasn't it. But first, you have to have a little bit of context before we get to the good part. I have been an angry person for most of my life. As I have revealed in past sermons, my anger issues have always stemmed from my parents' divorce when I was 9 years old, and it shattered my faith, not just in human beings, but in God as well. And I spent all of my teens into my 20s and well into my 30s being a very angry person and taking my anger out on anyone around me, be they friend, foe, or stranger. Speaking of Atlanta, I fully expected to die in a road rage incident before my 35th birthday, driving around Atlanta during all that time, because if there's any place to do it, Atlanta.
I think the battery has gone dead again.
I need to
don't
buy
make
a
the
whole new
batteries
pack
like
of
they used
batteries.
to.
These are like half full batteries. So. Please, everybody pray for my batteries. Anyway, so the moment I realized that anger had become a really, really bad problem in my life was not the incident where I stood nose to nose with a fellow traveler and child of God in Peachtree City, calling them everything but a child of God after a minor fender bender, and then the next day I woke up to 2 flat tires on my car. No, the moment I realized that I had an anger problem was when my ex, Wanda, put me out of the car while we were driving from Atlanta to Sumter. So the incident that sparked my rage, it really is not all of that important, but I ranted and raved about it during the entire car trip, and finally she stopped the car by the side of the road and she looked at me and she said, "Get out. I can't take this anymore." I promised. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll shut up. I'll be good for the rest of the trip. But she said, "No, get out." Luckily, her son Jamie was driving behind us, so I did have a lift to Sumter. But that incident, though, made me realize my anger was really coming at a high cost. It cost me relationships. It cost me jobs and friends and probably a lot of other opportunities I don't even know about. Right. That realization, though, by the side of Highway 378, it sent me on a journey to look deeply at the roots of my anger and finally find a way to heal. And what I found out was this: anger was a choice that I kept making. Because I felt my anger was righteous. But I realized it was just a self-defense tactic of a small, scared ego. My ego kept telling me that my anger would protect me from being hurt by anyone ever again, but all it really did was hold at bay a bunch of people who really, truly did want to love me. You are the light of the world, Jesus tells his listeners in today's gospel reading. When I was mired in my own anger and hatred, I wasn't anyone's light in the world. In fact, I was a light repellent. But to the ego, that's the place it wants to be. It wants to be in the dark. It wants to be alone. It wants to be brooding over the wounds and betrayal and grievances it blames for the world for inflicting upon it. But as I began to crack open that anger that has served as the bushel set so firmly on top of the light of the divine within myself, little bits of rays of light began to shine through. The darkness of my own inner storm began to break apart because there were those around me who really did care for me, and they stuck with me through my struggles. They persisted in shining their light for me when I could not find a way to shine my own. You know, when a hurricane hits, it's usually the power that's knocked out first, right? The same is true during the storms of our inner life. My hurricane of anger brought with it some gale force winds, and it destroyed everything around me. However, there were people there. There were spiritual first responders who came to my rescue and shined their light for me. And this jubilance, that is our call as ministers of God, to shine the light of our holiness whenever we may see others in the dark, because we cannot bring our darkness to the light alone. In the middle of the stormiest times of my own life, when I did feel all alone, I can look back now, I can see there were people all around me, shining their light for me, trying to lead me out of my darkness. Friends, family, spiritual directors, therapists, authors that I was reading, even my enemies, and maybe the enemies were even the best, because they challenged me to the point of rage to try to shake that anger from my heart. And what I discovered later, with the wisdom of A Course in Miracles, was that every single person who did that or tried to do that for me was sent by God. They were sent to teach me the lessons I needed to learn so that one day I could release my anger and the ego's insistence that only it will keep me safe in the world. The goal of the curriculum, the Course says, regardless of the teacher you choose, is know thyself. There is nothing else to seek. Everyone is looking for their self and for the power and the glory they think they have lost. Whenever you are with anyone, you have another opportunity to find them. Your power and glory are in them because they are yours. Now, my ego reassured me that I didn't want to know myself because myself was this unlovable pile of rage and bitterness and anger. Why get to know that? It would tell me. You'll just feel worse. And the ego tried to keep me isolated. It used my anger to run anybody off who would dare to try to bring this life-changing idea that my world could be different if I just changed from a perspective of anger and fear to one of compassion and love. And there are a plethora of self-help books out there on the market of varying quality, but the genre itself is sort of a misnomer. There is no such thing as self-help. The Course says that if you only look at yourself, the self with a small s, your ego self, you cannot find yourself because that is not what you are. The real me is not encased in this lonely, angry ego, and the only way to find our higher divine self is to realize it resides not just within ourselves, but within everyone we meet. We think we have lost our power and our glory. We think we have lost our ability to be love. But whenever you are with anyone, you have the opportunity to find it in them. A Course in Miracles is all about relationships. This is not a selfish kind of thing. When you think you've lost yourself, you find it in another because you recognize their light, and that helps you remember your own light. What finally tore it for me, though, was this part that reads, whenever you are with a holy sibling, you are learning what you are because you are teaching what you are. They will respond, it says, either with pain or with joy, depending on which teacher you are following. They will be imprisoned or released according to your decision, and so will you. As I reflect on that moment during that car ride to Sumter, I realized that my anger was causing pain to the people around me that I cared about. My anger didn't only imprison me, but everyone else. And that, jubilance, is what finally broke my heart and changed my perspective. The Course would call that moment a miracle, because I realized it was time to start fully letting go of my anger. And it wouldn't happen overnight, and honestly, I still have my moments. But it was during this time of transition and processing that this friend saw me on that panel, and they could still feel the anger that I was doing battle with. A miracle, a shift in perception. It's not a magic pill that automatically puts us in our higher divine self forever and ever, amen. Instead, it's often just a pinprick of light that dimly breaks into the middle of our darkest night and makes our hearts yearn to touch that holy light within and tear apart the bushel of ego that keeps it from shining in this world. And in those moments of darkness, when you see that faint light of hope, jubilance, don't turn away in fear. Go toward the light, because others are waiting there for you to come home, to who you truly are. Breathe deeply. When your worries, they won't let you sleep and rob you of your days. And you've looked in all directions, but you still can't find your way. When you just need someone to remind you that it's all gonna be okay. I will shine the light. I will shine the light. I will shine the light. When you're staring down your demons, waiting in your darkest night, I will shine the light. After this person told me just how angry I looked and felt to them on the night of the panel, they said to me, "But now you're different. I don't feel anger from you anymore. Instead, you have more of a countenance of peace." And I love this person because they use the word countenance. Right. Jubilants, I can't tell you how much that lifted my soul and how much those words meant, and they still mean to me. This was a moment when this friend shone her light of love my way, and instead of turning away like my angry ego would tell me to do, I embraced that light, and I shone my own light right back. Often the storms and the darkness of our lives continue because we choose to let them continue. I chose to stay angry until I chose not to stay angry. Instead of acknowledging the loving lights that appear around us and beckon us from our own darkness and despair, we tend to just shut our eyes and we believe the ego's lies that darkness is all there ever is, was, or shall be forever and ever. But that's a lie. That's a lie. The ego wants you to think that all you have is a human spirit. A spirit of fear and anger and greed and suspicion and despair and selfishness and evil. But the Apostle Paul, in his letter to the early church at Corinth, tells them the truth about themselves and about us all these years later. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, he tells them, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed on us by God. And we speak of these things in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual things to those who are spiritual. That spirit of the world, jubilants, that is our ego. The false self that lives in its fear and its anger and its hatred and its separation. And that is not our true self, Paul says. Our true spirit, who we really are, is from God, so that we can understand the gifts that God has given to us. God has given to us the gift of love and compassion and kindness and understanding and patience, because that's what we're created out of. That's what God is. And God has gifted us with this heart of joy and adoration for all of life. And when we are in touch with that place, the words that we speak, the thoughts that we think, will be those only of love, not of anger or judgment or fear. Paul tells those early Christians and us today, we have the mind of Christ. We have the mind of Christ. Would those with the mind of Christ ever think angry, hateful, or destructive thoughts, not just against others, but against itself? No. Jubilants, we are powerful beyond measure simply because we have the mind of Christ. We have a higher divine self. We have a connection with the spaciousness of all that is. We have the ability to touch that deep piece of the holy that allows us to love even the most unlovable, that allows us to care for even those we perceive as the most despicable among us, that allows us to have mercy on even those our ego may judge as evil or irredeemable. This mind, jubilants, is not enveloped in darkness like the ego mind. Instead, it is full of light, and it shines on us, even in our darkest night. It shines because other people are there to shine the light for us when we are unable to do so for ourselves. So I invite you this morning, Jubilants, stop hiding your light. Instead, take that egoic bushel off the divine light and let it shine so brightly in the world that others notice that you've changed, that you have become what Paul calls a new creation in Christ. Let us never forget that we have the responsibility not just to uncover our own light, but to be that light for our holy siblings when they are in darkness. Because we do not get into God's realm alone, Jubilants. We have to go together. We can leave no one behind in the darkness. So I invite you. Awareness is the key to all of this. I invite you to be aware of what you are teaching in every moment. Are you causing more pain in the world, or are you spreading more love? Are you imprisoning the people around you with your judgment and your anger, or are you freeing them with your love and your compassion? One of the reasons the course offers 365 lessons is because we are forgetful. We need daily reminders of who we are, who we truly are, and that love is the only lesson we should ever be learning and or teaching in this world. So I invite you to try to remember who you are in this and every moment. You are the light of the world. You are the mind of Christ. You have that divinity within, and so does everyone else, no matter what your ego thinks about them. So I invite you, Jubilants, shine your light when others can't, and accept that light from others when you have trouble shining your own. Because when you're shining the light and you are receiving the light, that's when the separation ends and we all get to say, oh yeah, I will shine the light. I will shine the light. When you're staring down your demons, waiting in your darkest night, I will shine the light. Sometimes we jump into the great unknown. Sorrows we all will have to walk alone. Waiting there at the end is a heart that calls you a friend. That's me, clapping the loudest, welcoming you home. So when your heart is heavy like a stone, carrying its load, and you look into the mirror and see someone you don't know, when the shadows are closing in on you like a hand around your throat, I will shine the light. I will shine the light. When you've given into your fears, when you've lost the will to fight, let me know what I can do. Let me try to make it right. Y'all, I hit that note. Keith didn't.
Poor
Uh-oh.
Keith.
All right. All right. I invite you during this prayer time. Sometimes I feel like I give the same sermon all the time with different examples. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deb. So let me sum it up for you so you can take this into your meditation time. Our only reason here is to accept the atonement for ourselves. That's what A Course in Miracles says. Let me translate. Our only reason here is to remember who we are. That is what the atonement is. Remembering who you are. You are the light of the world. You are the power and the glory. You are vast spaciousness. I listened to Eckhart Tolle on my way to and from Atlanta yesterday, and he talks about God's realm, God's kingdom. The kingdom of God is within you. And so what he says is the kingdom of God is the spaciousness. It is the sky. It is that field out beyond, that Rumi talks about. It is spacious awareness. It is beyond words. It is beyond thought. When you come back from it, you can't put it into words because they don't exist. Words are symbols of symbols of symbols anyway. The only way you know you've been there is that you come back different. You live your world. You live in this world differently. You walk with that spaciousness. Have you ever met somebody who's never met a stranger? Because they're spacious. They're open. They're open to anybody they meet. And it's not like you don't leave behind, this person. You're still your stories. You're still all the things you've been through. But when you accept the atonement for yourself, when you accept that you are the light of the world, and that your function in this world is to be that love in every moment, to teach love, because that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. That's what the Course says is the whole point of the crucifixion and the resurrection, is to teach love in everything you do, in everything you say. Try that on Facebook.
I do.
If you ever want to challenge yourself, what am I teaching today? Am I teaching love or am I teaching fear? Spend 5 minutes on Facebook and see what you type. That'll tell you where you are. That'll tell you where you are. It's easy to live in fear. We have to be aware. We have to be that vast, spacious awareness to live into our higher divine self. So I invite you in this time of meditation. Access that place. The kingdom of God is within you. The realm of the holy, that realm of spaciousness is within you. And you don't get there by trying. You don't get there by going, I'm going to be spacious now. You get there by allowing yourself to be here in this moment. Whatever your mind decides to do, let it do it. Let the puppy run off and pee in the corner. I don't care. We're not trying to control the thoughts. We're just trying to get them to settle down. Because it's beyond the thoughts, beyond the words. That's the spaciousness within ourselves that we're always trying to reach and channel it back through as we come back into these bodies and everything we got to do while we're in them. Breathe deeply. there. Right, Trisha Falk there, and the vocals for us, and the rest of the band over there, Mr. Sprinkles, Michael Sprinkles Reisman on keyboards and violin and everything else over there. Bruce Clark on the lead guitar back there. We gave him a microphone, now he has a voice.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Beth T. Hart back there on the drums. Woo! And I wasn't here for your inaugural return, so I am so happy that Keith Edwards Sr. back there Back from the dead, playing the bass. All right.
He has risen.
All right. He is risen. That's right. That's what we say for Keith. Ah. Yeah, well, I was reading this cup because I'm like, oh, this cup has words on it. I haven't seen that. I got this from a UCC minister friend of mine years ago. It says, we have these treasures in earthen vessels. And Jesus said, where your treasure is, where your heart is, that's where your treasure is, right? And so often we treasure the things of the ego. We treasure separation. We treasure our tribe. We treasure our politics. And we can tell what we treasure because that's where we put all of our resources. It's where we put our time. It's where we put our money. It's where we put our thinking. It's where we put our efforts. And I was told a long time ago, the Jubilee Circle would be huge and wildly successful financially if we taught fear instead of love. Because people, that's where our treasure is. Look around the world. You see what we're treasuring. We treasure the places, the institutions, the people, the teachers who tell us to be very fearful right now, who tell us to be afraid, be very afraid. Because the world is out to get you. The world is an awful place. The people in it are awful. Protect yourself. It's everyone for themselves. Look out for number one. And the places that are teaching, and those places are booming. Those places, they got resources coming out their ears. Because our ego wants us to see the separation. That these people are bad. We blame these people for the state of the world. And we give our time and our money and our hearts and our resources to all of the institutions, churches or political institutions or what have you, that reinforce our feelings of separation. And the places that tell us that we are one, the places that tell us that there is no separation between ourselves and anyone else, that we are all thoughts in the mind of God, that our ultimate destiny is unity, we stand humbly before you and ask for your support. And last year, we broke even. And this year, I don't think we will. Because the fear out there is loud. It's overwhelming. And we think we got to fight it with more fear, with more anger, with more hate. And so we put our money and our resources and our time in that. But jubilance, what would happen if we withdrew our belief in fear? If we stopped believing in tribalism, if we stopped believing that there are actual enemies out there to be defeated by any means necessary? What if we put our faith, our time, and our resources into organizations such as Jubilee Circle that teaches unity, that teaches that we are all one? You know, we get criticized. Oh, it's just that woo-woo, we're all one, blah, 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 blah. But a good friend of ours once said, either this shit works or it doesn't. And my life is a testament that this shit works. Amen. Yes. I have, you people would not have recognized me 20 years ago. I was such an angry, awful person. I was. But this has transformed me. The course, learning who I truly am, that I am not that angry, cynical, stupid person. I am the light of the world. Yes, you are. And so are you, every single person within the sound of my voice, within the reach of my thoughts. That's everybody. You're the light of the world. Start acting like it. Put your resources behind the institutions, the people, the teachers who are reminding you every day who you are. Because not everybody's going to go for it, right? There's always going to be the cynical folks. But when enough of us believe it, when enough of us withdraw our belief from fear and anger and greed and separation and put our belief in this woo-woo shit that works, the world will change. The separation will end. I promise you it's true. I have seen it work 1,000,000 times in my life. 1,000,000 times. I stand before you today as an example. You can give in many ways. We want your time and your talents, of course. Thank you. That's how so many help us out. This band, their time and their talents. Jim, time and talents. Our board, our time and our talents. Cece. Cece is one of our most generous donors. But it does take money to make the world go around, right? So if you feel that you want to show where your treasure is, you can give to Jubilee Circle. JubileeCircle.com. There are links to PayPal and Venmo. Or you can write a good old-fashioned check. Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina. And we will appreciate that. Where's your treasure, kids? What are you putting your faith in? Are you putting your faith in what the TV news tells you? You know what the TV news is? It's just the daily reporting on what the unconscious of the world are doing. That's what the news is. How about we report on what the awakened are doing in this world? They're loving each other. They're helping each other. They're shining their light for one another. And they understand the power of gratitude. They understand what Meister Eckhart said, that if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. That deep gratitude that changes the world. So together we say, thank you! And we say, oh yeah. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hearts and arms open wide. We make our way by walking in love wherever we find. Path is always open, no traveler is denied. So open up your heart, forget those tears you cried, because we all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hand in hand. And side by side. Oh yeah. Join us on the Zoom. The link is at JubileeCircle.com. So join us for some fellowship on the Zoom call. And if you're not joining us there, have a great week. Thank you so much. Oh yeah.